Is your healthy plan or health food that you are reaching for really that healthy for you or that slimming? In this episode of Thin Thinking, we explore the different health and weight loss buzzwords of the day and look at how our brain can be hypnotized into making choices that may seem are going to help you with weight management or health, but maybe actually creating a bigger challenge than you think. Let's poke holes in some of the diet and healthy lifestyle buzzwords so that you can have a more powerful mindset when choosing what is truly healthy for you. Did you know that our struggle with weight doesn't start with the food on your plate or get fixed in the gym? 80% of our weight struggle is mental. That's right. The key to unlocking long-term weight release and management begins in your mind. Hi there, I'm Rita Black. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, weight loss expert, best-selling author, and the creator of the Shift Weight Mastery process. And not only have I helped thousands of people over the past 20 years achieve long-term weight mastery, I am also a former weight struggler, carb addict, and binge eater. And after 2 decades of failed diets and fad weight loss programs, I lost 40 pounds with the help of hypnosis. Not only did I release all that weight, I have kept it off for 25 years. Enter the Thin Thinking podcast where you too will learn how to remove the mental roadblocks that keep you struggling. I'll give you the thin thinking tools, skills, and insights to help you develop the mindset you need, not only to achieve your ideal weight, but to stay there long term and live your best life. Sound good? Let's get started. Hello and welcome, friends. And here we are at the last week of March. So 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, I was pregnant for the first time, about to give birth to my daughter. I had been, she was late. So, around this time, I was, for any of you who have been very pregnant, at that stage where you're just ready to have that baby. And I remember this because there's this place in Los Angeles. It's actually in the valley, the San Fernando Valley, just over the hill from where we live. This restaurant, I can't even remember the name of it, but it had this sort of folklore that if you were pregnant and wanted the baby to come, to go eat this very specific salad at this restaurant, and it would induce labor. So I got so desperate, I made my husband take me to that restaurant, and I ate the salad, and nothing happened. So there you go. It didn't work, or I didn't allow it to work for me. But I believed in it. I believed that salad was going to help me give birth. So today we are going to look at, how, folklore, and not just folklore. There's, there's a lot of buzzwords out there in the zeitgeist that, they describe healthy lifestyles or healthy foods. But, having worked with people for many, many years in the weight management industry, I know that not everything, you can't take everything at surface value. That a lot of times these, diet plans or diet programs or diet foods or healthy, even like healthy. I mean, nowadays diet is like the no word, right? You can't say it. It means, it's been sort of canceled, and we're choosing words that are describing more of a healthy lifestyle. But a lot of times, again, people are adapting these lifestyles and aren't necessarily, how do I want to say this? It's not that these lifestyles aren't healthy, but sometimes we go on a healthy lifestyle thinking it's going to help us lose weight, but it doesn't, and then that frustrates us even more. So I kind of wanted to poke holes in some current terminology that's out there in the zeitgeist that you might find interesting. Like, I just want to turn the rocks over, so to speak. I'm not putting down any of these ways of eating. I think some of these are very healthy ways of eating, but I've had many, many clients come to me suffering because they are eating in a healthy way and not getting the results that they expected to because they thought this particular way of eating was going to help them lose weight. So, I remember back in the, I guess it was the 2000s now, that the low-fat lifestyle, remember, that was the 90s and the early 2000s, for those of you who remember the 90s and the early 2000s, that the low-fat diet, the fat-free diet was all the rage, right? I remember moving to LA from London. And in London, nobody, in England at that time, there was no fat-free anything, no diet anything. The British really were not into diet foods. And I don't think they are as much as, we Americans. All my friends joked, about that with me. But when we came here, there were these things on the market like fat-free Entenmann's coffee cakes and donuts and, all these like amazing baked goods that were quote unquote fat-free salad dressings and just multiple items that were fat-free. And I'm sure you remember that. The problem, as we learned with fat-free, is that they are not necessarily calorie-free or sugar-free. Usually, if they take out the fat, then they added more sugar, spiked everybody's blood sugar. The blood sugar dropped, made us feel hungrier, and guess what we did? Ate more fat-free items that were incredibly caloric. And I remember having, clients come to me just so frustrated with that fat-free diet, saying, I literally don't eat an ounce of fat in any way, shape, or form. Why am I gaining weight and not losing weight? And I was like, well, because, that Entenmann's coffee cake that you ate for breakfast, the entire thing, thinking, well, I might as well, was probably about 1,500 calories, probably, for a woman, medium-sized woman, probably a good majority of your daily caloric needs for, weight maintenance you may have taken yourself over even with breakfast thinking you were being healthy, right? So the fat-free thing faded, obviously. We are no longer in that fat-free phase, thank goodness. And, people have gotten a lot more health conscious, which I'm really, really happy about. There's so many amazing products out there. Consumer demand creates the demand that companies create better products and everything. But I still have, people who are frustrated with the outcome and results from, certain ways of eating because, at the end of the day, here's what you want to think about. There is you, and you are powerful. You have a wonderful mind, and that mind is perfectly capable of creating a way of eating that you love, that you have ownership over, that can allow you to live your life at your ideal weight. Okay? See, the problem is when we think we are being healthy or following a weight loss plan, we give a lot of power over to that thing, right? We are giving, the power is no longer within us. It's like I'm leaning in on this plan. I'm giving my locus of control. That's a term that I've used on this show before. Internal locus of control. When you have the internal locus of control, you are taking responsibility and ownership for your actions. When we have an external locus of control, that external thing, people, place, thing, has, we give that the responsibility, or we blame that thing, or we're focusing on that thing, right? So when we're focusing on a thing outside of us, like a plan or a diet or a regime or a way of eating, I'm not saying, again, some of these things might be perfectly fine, but we're giving our power over to it. And it's natural to do that because When we're in pain and struggling with our weight, we just want an answer. We just want a structure outside of ourselves that we can lean on, because it can feel very chaotic. When we're gaining weight, we feel lost. We're like, oh, here's a structure. Some people have lost weight on it. Let me do this thing. And then we go into it without really thinking about it or applying it. Like, is this really going to work for my life? Is this really the most healthy and sound plan for me? Now, research has shown that most people who have lost weight and kept it off long term, some of them have used a plan or, a diet, so to speak, as a way of beginning, as a structure or a starting point. However, those who were successful in the long term adapted and made that plan their own, right? So they went from external to internal. And this is very, very important about taking ownership. But again, we understand we want to get out of pain, and often getting out of pain means like, let me find an external solution, put my focus on that thing. And then for a while, we feel out of pain because we've given our power over to this other thing. And companies of diet foods and health foods love to take advantage of this. But we really have got to take the power back, and we need to get the facts for ourselves. For example, these companies, like whole grain, right? Like how many products have you seen, back in the day when, it went from like, oh, white flour is bad for you, so this is a whole grain product. Even though if you read the ingredients, there was hardly anything whole grain. It was like milled grain flour. It was ridiculous. So, and it being whole grain doesn't necessarily mean whole grain sugary cereal is still going to, spike your blood sugar, probably want you, like not satisfy you, make you hungrier and make you want to eat more. So yeah, is that whole grain cereal really that great of a choice for you? And again, so I want you to know, I'm not putting any of these things down, but you just want to, like, when you are making decisions about how you're eating and feeding yourself, I want you to believe in you. I want you to put your, belief in that you've got a powerful brain. You can do this. All the answers are inside you. It's just a matter of, creating a way of living that allows you to live your life at your ideal weight. So this is why I want to just go through some of these terms and, just give you some other information from my perspective. And what I have found that, when we're giving our power over these things, often if we think they're quote unquote healthy, what we do is we may eat too much of them. Oh, well, it's healthy. I can eat as much as I want. Just like the Enrollment's fat-free, coffee cake. Or, it gives us this idea like, oh, I have been so healthy and pure, I deserve to eat some more, right? So it can backfire on us. So one of the first words is organic. I have had, and again, I'm not saying this is you, but I've had clients who have said, well, I eat all organic. Why am I not losing weight? Right? Now, those of you may be chuckling that knows that, like an organic apple and a non-organic apple probably have the same amount of energy, if they were the exact same size and everything. The amount of calories, the amount of, energy, and the amount of nutrients might be a little different in the organic versus the non-organic apple. But, they are going to, really have the same caloric impact on your body. And, if you eat a bag of caloric apples, I doubt you would, but if you did, that would be a lot of apples. And just because they were organic doesn't mean they're a free food. I know Weight Watchers lets you eat, does Weight Watchers let you eat all the fruits and vegetables you want, and it doesn't count for anything? So, maybe in the world of Weight Watchers, but in the world of, science, it doesn't fly that way. So, anyway, again, nothing against anything, just kind of looking at words. So organic. So I'm going to say another thing about organic. So the now, as you probably have noticed, the marketing around things like organic products, everything is organic, to the point that you want to laugh. Organic toothpaste, organic clothing, organic, if you put organic in front of it, you can charge $5 more for pretty much anything, or a lot more. And again, organic is a great idea. I am not dissing organic. I mean, I am so happy to have organic products that I know don't have the chemicals that, might be harmful, that aren't, harming the environment. So I'm not dissing organic at all. I'm dissing organic, the idea of organic somehow being a diet food, or something that's going to help you lose weight. Now, if you are making more wholesome organic choices over refined foods and fast foods, that you're eating a more organic based diet. Okay, cool. That will you'll probably get healthier. You'll probably release weight, but swapping, organic greens for non-organic greens, it isn't going to fly. So I was at my friend's cabin a few years ago. This was my organic story. And I went to his, I eat peanut butter, and my peanut butter is like peanuts and salt, and it's all ground up, and it's good. But that's it. So I went to his cabin, and our family was staying at his cabin, and I pulled out a jar of organic peanut butter from his cupboard, and I looked at the label, and I just had to laugh so hard, because the ingredients were organic peanuts, organic cane sugar, organic palm oil, and organic salt. I mean, okay. So, basically a junkie, if it were Jiffy, those are pretty much the same ingredients in a pretty refined peanut butter, other than the fact that each of those ingredients were organic. So that's my little organic story. Made me laugh. All right. So another, term is vegetarian. All right. So some of you might be vegetarian, and all the power to you. That's, a very healthy way of eating. A lot of people choose not to harm animals, and to, that obviously a lot of our meat products are full of, hormones and things like that. And, people definitely make lifestyle choices. But sometimes people do come to me and they're like, I swapped over to a vegetarian diet and I thought I would lose weight, but I've gained weight. And the same with like a vegan diet. Like, I thought my friend's so skinny and she's vegan. I thought that, eating vegan would, help me lose weight. But, the problem with that is, again, those diets, or those ways of eating. And when I say diet, you guys, I don't mean like diet, diet to lose weight. I mean, diet in Greek means way of eating. So I don't want you to get all, because I know some people's hair raises on the back of their neck when they hear the word diet. But when I use the word diet, mostly I'm just saying it is a way of eating. So, vegetarian, vegan, again, awesome choices, ways of eating if it works for you, but don't necessarily choose it, to lose weight. You can choose it because you want to not harm animals and to, again, save the environment. All of that stuff is super cool. But, the vegan foods can be very densely caloric, and I have seen. And sometimes if you are eating more carbohydrates, because those diets often have more carbohydrate base because you're eating more beans. Beans are part protein, part carbohydrate, but like lots of rice, bread. I had a friend who was a vegetarian once, and all he ate was cheese pizza. I mean, and he was not healthy, so you have to balance that and really make sure that you're eating light foods, the definitely the greens and the vegetables and fruits that are lighter, because if you're eating only densely caloric foods, even like avocados can be, an avocado is healthy until you're eating too much of it, and then it becomes unhealthy because you gain weight, because they are densely caloric. And you eat some, awesome. You eat a lot, it's the same with almonds. You eat a handful of almonds, there's a lot of, I think each almond has like maybe 10 calories in it, so we grab a handful of almonds and shove them in our mouth and chew them, and almost mindlessly thinking, oh well, it's good for me and it's healthy. But it ceases being healthy when we're eating more than our body needs, right? So and we're gaining weight. So just be aware that, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan, and I'm sure you're consulting with a nutritionist and you're, all aware of what you need to be putting in your body. But I do see a number of vegans who, what has happened is that they've gotten sort of carbohydrate dependent, like their brain has kind of gotten into a carbohydrate mode, and they aren't eating enough protein, and it can stimulate your appetite and make you want to eat more. Just some people, not everybody, but there are certain people who are more genetically prone towards carbohydrates, especially more refined carbohydrates. And again, I don't know what kind of way that you're eating, but you want to make sure you're getting enough vitamin B12. You want to make sure that you're, getting enough protein, in the form of pea protein or bean protein or seitan or a tofu or whatever you are making work for you within your vegan regime. You might even explore other more substantial forms of protein within that, because you just might feel better. Some people feel a little off balance on a vegan diet, and it isn't because a vegan diet is unhealthy per se, but if you're not getting the right amounts of complete proteins, some people just do feel off, or they, like I said, can get more into carbs, and then that can cause some problems with weight management. And then to that extent, eating clean. Like, we can eat clean, and a lot of people go, oh, well, I'm going to lose weight now, I'm going to eat clean. But again, you can eat clean and you can eat way more than your body needs. And eating clean is great, but, and eating clean, for those of you who don't know, it's just like you're eating pretty much wholesome foods, whole foods that aren't refined. Lean proteins, vegetables, fruits, whole things, whole grains, all of those things. But it really can, for a lot of people, be misleading in their brains. They're like, I'm eating clean, so I'm cool, like I'm fine, but they're just eating too much. And the same with keto. I know there's this whole ketogenic, you get into ketosis and it doesn't matter how much you're eating and you're doing ketones and all of that stuff. But unless you're really, really, really following a ketogenic diet to a T, meaning you are in a state of ketosis. And there was this article I read where this person who was a nutritionist said, most people are not in ketosis who think they're following a ketogenic diet. It's just, they're taking out a whole food group, carbohydrates, but then they're eating massive amounts of meat and cheese and bacon and avocado. And again, all of these things are very densely caloric. So unless you are in true ketosis, which is not incredibly sustainable, according to this nutritionist who was like, most people would gag if they were really eating a true ketogenic diet, because it does require eating a lot of fat. Then, beware of, making sure, some people see a lot of weight loss up front, but then they plateau, and that can be frustrating. And sometimes that's because the ketogenic diet does really get a lot of the water out of your body. So, you might see a lot of water weight loss up front and fat loss too. But I'm just saying that just because, this is all not, I'm not dissing ketogenics. The ketogenic diet. I'm not, and all of these things are fine if you're approaching it, as I'm taking ownership of this and making it my own and using it for my body and what my body needs and for my weight release. Again, like intermittent fasting, perfectly fine. I fast, I go long periods without food, for health, and it makes it pretty easy to manage your weight. However, I have seen many people say I'm intermittent fasting, but in that 8-hour window that I'm allowing myself to eat, I can eat a lot of food. So again, if you're eating more than your body needs, irregardless of if it's fasting or keto, if it's keto or vegetarian, it's not, going to work for you. And I don't want you to be disappointed because you're like, oh, vegan didn't work for me and this didn't work for me. It's no, you are perfect within yourself. But, these things are ways of eating. They're structures, but they're not necessarily going to create weight loss unless you use it and you knowledgeably use it in that way. Acai bowls, I'm just going to, those probably belong in this next list that I'm going to go through with you. So I'll move those over there. But like juicing, a lot of people would like to juice. And I think that juicing can work for a lot of people. I've seen people cure themselves of stuff with juicing, but again, if you're drinking, like, especially, like juice with like a lot of fruit juice in the morning, that is going to spike your blood sugar and that might cause you to eat more later in the day. But yeah, I don't, the juicing thing for a lot of people is very helpful, again, cleansing and all of that stuff. But just, be aware it's not necessarily, I remember Jamba Juice. I think it's still around. And people would go and buy these big old things of Jamba Juice, which are like 1,000 calories, some of those drinks, like a half or more than half of some people's daily bodily needs to, maintain their weight, in one juice. And that was a snack, so buyer beware, think those things through and really have a look at them from like, really, is this really the sugar-free craze, right now everything's sugar-free, but they still, if you look, the sugar-free cookie is pretty much the same amount of calories as the sugar-full cookie, and you see on most of those products it says this is not a low-calorie food. So the fact that it is absent of sugar might be helpful if it's not spiking your sugar and making you hungrier, and I eat some sugar-free products and I enjoy them, and they don't spike my sugar or make me want to eat more, like, something with sugar in it, because, I have a sugar addiction background. But, it's not less calories. So it just, and the same with gluten-free. Everything's gluten-free, and I think for a while, I don't think so much anymore, but, everyone's like, I'm eating gluten-free, why am I gaining weight? I ate a gluten-free muffin. It's, sometimes gluten-free can, because it's made with rice flour or different types of flour that are actually more highly refined than wheat flour, if you eat something, it can make you hungrier. So now I want to go through. So I hope I didn't certainly mean to offend anybody, but I just wanted to kind of go through some of these terms of the day to just kind of look at them from other angles. And now I want to go through some foods that again are what I see can become a challenge for people thinking they're healthy, but then backfiring for them. So the first one is frozen yogurt. Frozen yogurt. Who here likes frozen yogurt? Well, I can tell you that over the years, I've had multiple, so many clients. I could write a book on frozen yogurt. Not to say, again, it's not delicious. I like frozen yogurt, but that frozen yogurt can be addictive food for some people. They can really, because of the sugar in it, the way it hits the brain, people get into real habits with frozen yogurt. there's not so as many frozen yogurt places around as there used to be, so maybe that is sort of fading, but I just wanted to put my plug in for frozen yogurt. Buyer beware of frozen yogurt. And again, you can go and enjoy a cup of frozen yogurt, but thinking like, oh, it's only 80 calories, but then you go and add all the crap on top from the little goodie, buffet, adding stuff to it, or syrups on top, or even if you're eating it plain, getting one of those big old honking dishes, then it adds up. And then it, for a lot of people, is a gateway food to more snacking. Nut butters. I kind of covered this when I talked about almonds, but nut butters can be very addictive for people. So even we might be eating a half a jar of almond butter and thinking, well, almonds are healthy. But again, if it's a trigger food for you, you probably shouldn't have it in your house. Some people can manage this stuff, and some people it just is a trigger food. The things like Halo Top ice cream, again, kind of like frozen yogurt, not that bad. I mean, they're very low in calories. So they might be fine for you. But again, you really just have to kind of start to look at these things like, can I manage the portions? And when I eat it, does it make me hungrier? Or when I eat it, like as a snack, does it lead me to, wanting to snack more? Does it lead like, I'll have frozen yogurt, then I will have popcorn, and then I will have, crackers or whatever. It's like we often eat in a pattern. So, start to ask yourself, these healthy foods, are they addictive for you? Are you eating too much of them? Popcorn is a big one. The microwave popcorn, only 100 calories, but then we eat 4 of them, over the course of the night. So is that really serving you? Salads. Okay, so salads, if you've heard me rant and rave about salads, like salads at a restaurant, most restaurants I go to, I get so pissed off with their salad selection, because if you remove the lettuce from these salads, most of them all have the candied nuts with the big chunks of blue cheese. And if you took away the measly greens, with the dressing, that's a really caloric dish, more caloric than probably the pasta dish you wanted to eat, or the chicken piccata. I just laugh when I look at some salad menus and I'm like, really, are you kidding me? Even Caesar salad, that it's got all the croutons and all those things. And so we think we're being really virtuous ordering a salad too. And the problem with that is we're like, well, I ate that salad and I can order dessert. But the problem is we probably ate way more calories, like I said, with the salad. Maybe not, but just again, look at that menu, look at what's on there. And, I'm always asking for stuff on the side. Can I get those candy nuts on the side, or just leave them off and leave off that other stuff and put more healthier stuff on? I'll look at other stuff on the menu and go, put that on there instead, and, leave that other thing be. And they'll do it. But, be aware of salads. There's a lot of healthy salads out there, but, when you're eating out, just kind of be aware of that. Veggie crisps, right? Like, there's that potato chip section, and then the veggie crisps seem like the healthier choice. But, I don't even know what's in those things, because I don't. So I'm, maybe they're loaded, but, they are, you eat them and your body goes through the same process it does when it's eating potato chip or something like, crunchy and salty. It's going to want more. And those veggie crisps are the same amount of calories as, potato chips. They're, so there's really not much difference really in them. God, the, food industry, they sit in boardrooms and think these things up. They're just like, well, people don't like the idea of potato chips, so how can we make something that seems healthy but it's still got sugar, fat, salt. They're like, how about veggie crisps? Oh, good idea. You get the raise, it puts my hair on end. If you could see it right now, it's just standing right on end. Protein bars. Okay, again, can we talk protein bars? There's some really good ones, but damn, a lot of those things have a lot of, they're caloric, and you eat one and you're like, well, that didn't really satisfy my appetite, but I just ate 250 calories and it tasted kind of like a candy bar and I kind of want more, so you really got to ask yourself, look at the protein, really make sure that there's enough protein. Like I will look at a protein bar and say, if it doesn't have 15 grams of protein or more, I'm not even interested in it. I look at some of these protein bars have 7 grams of protein. They're mostly, nuts and chocolate and all these things. And I'm like, no, I really want to eat something that's got protein in it that's going to satisfy me and take me to the next meal, not eat it, then want the next one. Which is, like I said, what a lot of them do. So really start to notice, like when you're eating some of these things, how do you feel a half hour later? Like, did it really satisfy you? Or did eating it actually make you feel hungrier or more, I need something more? Right? Because these are the foods then you want to start to shift your relationship with. You want to start to go, you know what? That food is not serving me. Let me find a food that really stabilizes me, that I love, that tastes good in my mouth, that's, a healthy choice, but that doesn't leave me wanting more or looking for more. Acai bowls. Okay, yeah. Like acai bowls, they're a bunch of fruit. I think there's some definitely healthy components to it. But again, it can spike your blood sugar and make you feel hungrier later. So just be careful with, those things that seem healthy. And again, these are the questions that you want to be asking yourself when you're thinking, through the foods that you consider healthy. Can I manage the portions of this? Do I have to eat more than one? Like a Skinny Cow ice cream bar is great. It's a portion control. It's, a certain amount of calories. It's tasty. But do you want a second one? Or, does it satisfy you at the end of the meal and are you done? Or, these are the things that you want to start to tune into your body, tune into yourself, and really just get present to them. Like, is this really the best choice for me? Or does it make me hungrier? Definitely a lot of these quote unquote health foods eaten on an empty stomach really leave you wanting more, not satisfying you. Is it a gateway food? Like with the popcorn, if I eat one, then do I want to eat more popcorns or do I want to eat something else after it to satisfy? If I eat the salty crunchy, then do I need something sweet? Then I need something salty crunchy again. How much value am I getting from the calories? Like, if you're eating something that's a significant amount of calories, you want it to do something for you. You want it to stabilize you. You want it to take you to your next meal. You don't want to eat, a fat-free donut, for 300 calories and be starving in 15 minutes. That wasn't a good investment of, your energy for the day, right? You want to get the best bang for your buck from what you're eating, both in enjoying it, but also knowing that it's going to stabilize and nourish you. And then another question you could ask yourself, is there a less healthy item? Is there a less healthy item that would satisfy me more, maybe for fewer calories? Like, because sometimes if you eat the real McCoy, and I'm not saying go out and eat a bunch of junk, but if you're eating the real McCoy, sometimes it satisfies you. It doesn't make you want to eat more. And you're like, oh, that was yummy. Now I'm going to get on with my day. And you don't feel like you need to eat more, and you don't feel so virtuous that you feel like you could eat 5 more, because the virtue factor is really big. And, again, health food and diet food industry really bankroll on that. I remember many times going to vegetarian restaurants and going, oh, this is healthy. So I would end up eating so much more than if I thought, oh, this isn't the healthiest choice. Maybe I want to, go easy on this. So crazy. All right. So I hope our little discussion, I hope my little rant through the world of healthy foods and was, I hope it was thought provoking for you. And I hope it was, just, I know you and I know you're smart and I know you have, know so much about these things, but I just wanted to have this one-to-one conversation with you, just like looking at these things and just it's always helpful to have those little question marks in the back of our mind, especially when we're, a multi-billion-dollar industry is, doing its best to hypnotize us and market to us thinking that, we're idiots and that, we can fall for the next ploy, aka Entenmann's fat-free coffee cake. All right, so this week, I want to remind you, marks the second to last week of our Write a Thin Thinking podcast review and prize drawing. And all you have to do is take a picture of the Thin Thinking review that you write on the platform that you listen to us on and send it to Rita@shiftweightmastery.com. And if you can't remember that, just grab it from the show notes below, and then you will be put into the prize drawing, which is going to be on March 31st. So get that review in. There are going to be 3 runner-up prizes of $100 worth of downloads from the Shift Weight Mastery Hypnosis download store, and a grand prize winner who will win a free place in our upcoming live online Shift Weight Mastery process. That is going to be led by me, and that's coming up soon. It's just in a month away. So this is an awesome prize worth several $100s. So go get those reviews rolling in. Okay, everyone, have an amazing week. And remember that the key, and probably the only key, to unlocking the door of the weight struggle is inside you. So keep listening and find it. I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to the Thin Thinking podcast. Did that episode go by way too fast for you? If so, and you want to dive deeper into the mindset of long-term weight release, head on over to www.shiftweightmastery.com. That's www.shiftweightmastery.com, where you'll find numerous tools and resources to help you unlock your mind for permanent weight release, tips, strategies, and more. And be sure to check the show notes to learn more about my book, From Fat to Thin Thinking, Unlock Your Mind for Permanent Weight Loss, and to learn how to subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode.